Vecna wasn't always a vine-covered creature living in a hellscape. He was once a boy named Henry Creel, and his transformation from a sensitive kid in the Nevada desert to the 5-star general of the Upside Down is one of the most shocking and brilliant retcons in television history. What makes his story truly terrifying isn't just the monster he became, it's how easily it could have been prevented. This is Vecna's entire horrifying story, explained. The beginning. Our story begins in the late 1940s with Henry Creel. Born to Victor and Virginia Creel, Henry was always different. He had a sister, Alice, but he never fit in. His father called him a deeply sensitive boy. His teachers and doctors called him broken, the kind of kid who didn't belong anywhere. Heo felt the world pressing down on him from every angle. Now things get murky here. Multiple versions of Henry's childhood exist. Conflicting memories, fractured timelines. Since Henry's memories are messed up, corrupted by decades of trauma and transformation, his own account isn't exactly reliable. But one thing remains consistent across every version. Something happened to Henry Creel in Nevada. Something that changed him forever. The Nevada incident. In one version, Henry's family lived in Rachel, Nevada. Young Henry was a Boy Scout, exploring the desert with his spyglass. Just a kid looking for adventure. Looking for something to make him feel less alone. No signs of the predator he'd become. Just a curious child with a spyglass and too much time on his hands. Then, everything changed. While exploring the desert caves, Henry stumbled upon something he shouldn't have. A scientist, frantic and terrified, is clutching stolen equipment from Dr. Brenner's secret Nevada facility. The man was desperate, running from something. And Henry, being the sensitive kid he was, tried to help. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong decision. Henry accidentally activated the device. A machine designed to tear holes between dimensions. Reality itself ripped open, and Henry was pulled through, into Dimension X. For 12 hours, Henry Creel existed in a place no human should ever see. The scientist didn't make it. He died in that hellscape. But Henry survived. When he came back, something had changed. His blood was altered. His personality shifted. And worst of all, he had powers. Psychic powers that no child should possess. After paralyzing another kid with nothing but his thoughts, his family made a decision. Pack up, leave Nevada, start fresh somewhere else. Somewhere that might help Henry forget what happened in those cases. Somewhere like Hawkins, Indiana. The move to Hawkins. In 1959, the Creel family moved to Hawkins, Indiana. Purchased a beautiful Victorian house on the edge of town. The kind of house that should have been a fresh start. A place to heal, to forget. But Hawkins had other plans. The moment they arrived, something darker awakened inside Henry. Those dormant abilities from Nevada came roaring back. He could move things with his mind. Read thoughts like open books. Inflict pain with a single glance. And then he found them, black widows. Living in the walls of the Creel House, spinning their wings and waiting for prey. Henry became obsessed, watched them for hours, studied how they hunted, how they killed. And somewhere in that darkness, a realization formed. He was just like them. A predator in a world full of prey. Someone who exists to purge the weakness from humanity. At Hawkins High, Henry tried to blend in. Crossed paths with kids who'd one day become parents themselves. Joyce Byers, Jim Hopper, Karen Wheeler. He walked the same halls, sat in the same classrooms, was even cast in the school production of Oklahoma. Opening night should have been his debut performance. His moment to shine. Instead, the 14th of March, 1959, became the night Henry Creel murdered his family. The Creel House massacre. Henry started experimenting with his abilities. First, on animals in the yard, then on his family. He psychologically tortured them with visions designed to exploit their deepest fears. His mother, Virginia, knew something was terribly wrong with her son. She reached out to the one person who might understand, Dr. Martin Brenner, asked him to take Henry away, to help him, or stop him. Henry found out about his mother's betrayal. On the 14th of March, 1959, he struck, killed his mother and sister, R. Alick, E. in a display of psychic brutality. Tried to kill his father, Victor, but the effort overexerted him. Henry collapsed into a coma. Victor survived, and when the police arrived, they saw exactly what they expected to see, a war veteran who'd snapped. Victor was blamed, arrested, and imprisoned. Driven into madness by guilt over crimes he never committed, believing a demon had cursed their home. He wasn't entirely wrong. Hawkins Lab and Number 1. When Henry woke from his coma, Dr. Brenner was waiting. Brenner had been hunting for Dimension X energy for years. His obsession began during World War II, when his father participated in the USS Eldridge experiment, an experiment that accidentally breached the abyss. Brenner saw Henry as the living key to his father's lost legacy. Henry became Test Subject 001, the laboratory's first child test subject. But experimenting on Henry was a nightmare. He wasn't compliant. He was emotional, unstable, and dangerous. Brenner made a decision. He implanted a device called Soteria into Henry's neck, a power suppressant chip that tracked him and kept his abilities locked down. But Brenner's ambitions didn't end there. He wanted an army of psychics, started a program codenamed Indigo. Volunteer test subjects took experimental drugs in sensory deprivation tanks, received transfusions of Henry's blood. Brenner then abducted their unborn children. The experimentation worked. 17 children developed psychic abilities, all numbered, all trained, all controlled, and Henry was forced to help raise them as an orderly. The orderly? For 20 years, Henry lived as a suppressed prisoner, worked as an orderly under the false name Peter Ballard, assisted Brenner, watched the children grow, none as powerful as he once was, until he met Subject 011. 11. This girl was different. After witnessing her being bullied by the other subjects, Henry saw an opportunity. He befriended her, made her believe they were alike, that the world would never understand. He helped her hone her powers, encouraged her rage, all while planning his escape. The massacre at Hawkins' lab, the 8th of September, 1979, the day everything changed. Henry and 11 played chess in the Rainbow Room. Henry whispered that the other children were planning to kill her, offered her escape, slid her a key card under the table, showed her the route through a drain pipe. But first, she needed to do one thing: remove the Soteria chip from his neck. 11 trusted him. She removed it, and Henry's abilities came flooding back. Security guards stormed in. Henry slaughtered them without hesitation, revealed his 001 tattoo to 11, left her in a storage cupboard, then proceeded on a rampage through the lab. He killed every test subject, 2 through 18, murdered a lab person, left Brenner unconscious. When 11 found him in the Rainbow Room, he was finishing off too. Henry explained everything: his origins, his philosophy, his identity. As Henry Creel, he asked her to join him, to help eradicate humanity and reshape the world. 11 refused. Henry attacked. They engaged in a psychokinetic duel that tore reality apart. Henry overwhelmed her initially, but 11 found hidden strength, summoned power she never knew existed. A gate opened in the Rainbow Room, a temporary portal into another dimension. 11 sent Henry through. His body careened through an interdimensional hellscape as lightning stripped the flesh from his bones. He should have died, but he healed. The Upside Down's toxic atmosphere transformed him. His body became writhing tendrils. His left hand was a massive, clawed paw. Henry Creel was gone. Vecna was born. The Mind Flayer connection. But there's more to this story. Something darker is lurking beneath the surface. In the Upside Down, Henry found cloud particles in the Mind Flayer. In one version of events, Henry shaped these particles and gave them form. But the truth is far more sinister. That briefcase in the Nevada caves wasn't just a means of transportation. Inside was a black stone threaded with glowing red veins. When young Henry touched it, he was infected. The Mind Flayer marked him, possessed him. For years, Henry believed he was in control, that he commanded the Mind Flayer. But the relationship was never that simple. They weren't master and servant. They were partners in humanity's destruction. Henry had embraced it because he believed the world deserved to burn. The Return and Vecna's Curse. For years, Vecna remained in the Upside Down, building power. He became the ruler, a hive mind controlling demogorgons, demodogs, demobats, and vines, all extensions of his corrupted will. In 1983, Vecna orchestrated Will Byers' kidnapping, setting the events of Stranger Things in motion. But the actual plan wouldn't be revealed for years. In 1986, Vecna returned to Hawkins with a purpose. He began targeting teenagers, suffering from buried trauma, guilt, pain, mental health struggles. He forged through their thoughts telepathically, psychically linked them to his realm, the red smoke area Max witnessed, created terrifying hallucinations set in their most painful memories. Victims became paralyzed, eyes glazed over. Then he killed them brutally, displayed their corpses like a spider keeps prey in its web. The Four Gates. Vecna wasn't killing randomly. Their trauma made them vulnerable, easier to manipulate than adults. Every kill opened a gate to the Upside Down at the murder site. His goal was simple: bridge the gap between dimensions. He targeted 4 specific teenagers: Chrissy Cunningham, Fred Benson, Patrick McKinney, and Max Mayfield. 4 gates would merge the dimensions. Bring the Upside Down and Earth together. Cause a catastrophe. The battle. Dustin and the others investigated, nicknaming the killer Vecna after a Dungeons & Dragons character. Nancy, Steve, and Robin discovered his base in the Upside Down's Creel House. Max narrowly escaped his attack thanks to her favorite song. Music disrupted his power. The group launched a dual assault. 11 confronted Vec physically, while Nancy, Steve, and Robin attacked his physical body. They wounded him severely but couldn't kill him. Vecna possessed and killed Max. 11 revived her. But Max's brief death opened the 4th gate. 4 massive rifts tore through Hawkins. The Upside Down began infiltrating the town. Vecna had won the final confrontation. In 1987, Vecna returned with a new plan. Kidnapped 12 Hawkins children using demogorgons, including Holly Wheeler, appeared to them as Henry Creel, calling himself Mr. Whatsit. Imprisoned them in the Abyss as an interdimensional wormhole connected to the Upside Down. He intended to use them as vessels to reshape the world. They were transported to Camazotz, a realm consisting of Henry's twisted memories. Max worked to expose his true nature. As the party confronted Vecna in the Abyss, they entered his most terrifying memory: the cave, the briefcase, the black stone. It revealed the truth. Young Henry touched the Mind Flayer's particles. Will urged Henry to fight back against the entity's control. Henry refused. He'd been corrupted beyond salvation. Revealed that he and the Mind Flayer were one, partners by choice. In the final battle, 11 tore Vecna free of the Mind Flayer's tendrils, while the party destroyed the entity. Vecna, weakened, took a severe beating. His head was severed. The monster was defeated. The legacy. From a sensitive boy in Nevada to the ruler of the Upside Down. From Henry Creel to #1 to Vecna. His journey is pure tragedy. A lonely boy who looked into the abyss, and the abyss looked back and never stopped. He was shaped by loneliness, curiosity, and contact with a force no child should ever meet. Brenner's cruel experiments, the Mind Flayer's corrupting influence. But also by choice. Henry chose to embrace the darkness, chose to become the monster his father feared. His actions set everything in motion. Will's disappearance, 11's escape. Every tragedy in Hawkins traces back to one boy's choice in a Nevada cave. Vecna represents something terrifying, not just a monster from another dimension, but what happens when trauma meets power. When isolation breeds contempt for humans, Henry saw himself as a predator, but he was always the prey. Caught in the Mind Flayer's web from the moment he touched that stone, he believed he was in control. But the Mind Flayer had been pulling his strings since childhood, turning a broken boy into the architect of the apocalypse. That's what makes Vecna one of television's most complex villains. Simultaneously victim and perpetrator, puppet and puppeteer, monster and man. It's a cautionary tale about how easily darkness can corrupt, how trauma can twist innocence into evil, and how sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we create ourselves. Thanks for watching.